Hey guys, thank you for tuning in to this episode of Influencers Network. We're here with my old and good friend Ryan Campbell, Mr. KOA himself, podcaster, artist, videographer, photographer, everything entertainment and media. So again, Ryan, thank you very much for joining with me here online today.
Glad to be here. Thank you again, Mark. Definitely a different medium since the last time we met up, so it's going to be interesting.
The last time we met, we were in person, like most of the interviews on the series. But of course, now we have this COVID-19 virus going on around the world, so things have changed. And this is our chance to still meet with the entrepreneurs who are building their businesses, but doing it a little more virtually nowadays.
Yes.
So give us a recap of, oh, sorry, go ahead, please.
No, it's a very different and surreal time right now.
Right.
Since the last time we spoke, my brand has definitely expanded exponentially.
Good.
It's exciting and frustrating at the same time because this happened at a point when I was, expanding a lot of different projects that I had set in place.
Yeah.
But it's also benefiting me because the things that I was trying to expand upon also was going to reduce the time for myself very heavily, right?
Okay.
So it's like a blessing and a curse in a way.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been great to kind of work on those projects, which I'm still going to be doing after, but
Right.
But the benefit of this happening where we're now, stuck inside and everything's on pause is that a lot of things I want to do for myself, I can now finally do. I would naturally put myself on hold for my business a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I'd invest in my business, I'd invest in ideas, I would be shooting people, I'd be traveling, I would do all these things to grow my brand beyond myself.
Right.
But putting time into myself was always put on the back burner just because my career was so demanding.
Really? Okay.
So now with this limbo stage we're in, I've been able to put a lot of time into myself, like hours that I would actually never have otherwise. Like it'd literally be impossible to spend the amount of time for myself as I've been spending the last 3 weeks or so. So
yeah,
I've been able to kind of fill the gaps that I've always wanted to fill for the last few years that I haven't had the time to fill. So now I think I'll actually come out of this with even more than I would have had this hadn't happened, which is weird to say, but
no, it forces you to stop and really take a break and reflect on everything you're doing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. One of the big things that I realized, and I was talking to someone else about this yesterday, is that we're in kind of this grind and hustle culture. Everything is work, 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 push, 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 always making progress, and that's great. But people rarely take the time to just reflect and take a breath.
Exactly.
So how did that affect you, either with physical health or mental health, with all the pushing you were doing without taking time to stop?
I definitely burned out a few times. I'm a workaholic. That's my personality. I mean, I've been like that my whole life,
right?
As far as I can remember. So, but there's wake up calls like these that kind of give you the opportunity to slow down. It makes you realize like how much you were doing. Like when I'm like, now that I'm not doing certain things anymore, I'm like, yo, like, yeah, like I realized how much I was really doing each day, and how much I was avoiding or overlooking or didn't have time to do that I can now do. So it's like, it really gives you it really just changes the perspective on things. But just, putting time into yourself and looking at these moments as learning moments and reflection has been very important for me.
Of course. So without getting into too much of maybe the private projects you're doing that you want to launch in your own special way, can you give some insights into what you're working on right now or what you're looking forward to working
on? I mean, so what I'm currently working on, or was currently working on before this happened, was 2 synergistic programs.
Okay.
Basically, I created 2 programs to basically operate at the same time. Actually, can we pause this? I'll put this on my live.
Yeah, no worries. All right. So with all the time that you have now to focus on yourself, maybe walk us through what you've been working on in the past or what projects you have coming up.
Well, things I was working on prior to this pandemic starting, which kind of gave me an opportunity to pause that and kind of put time into myself, which was actually also needed.
Right.
Were two synergistic programs that I was basically starting at the same time. So one was the KOA Pros program, and the other was a KOA 100 Club program.
Okay.
Together, my plan was to basically create a benefit for a large group of people, as well as fill a need for a different group of people.
Okay.
Right? So if I basically noticed that in our community, especially in the space of media and, creative, I guess the creative market, a lot of people are very selfish, right? In the sense where it's like, it's very me, it's very just about you. And people are very hesitant to share resources or share their experiences or share money, to be honest.
Right.
Like when you have your own client, you keep it to yourself. A lot of times people might have a position that they can't fulfill and they'd rather, not do it than send it on to somebody else, So it's interesting when people don't, it's interesting when we can create something for people that isn't necessarily taken away from yourself, but people might not be able to understand that.
Right.
So me creating the program of the KOA 100 Club and the KOA Pros was a way for me to, help local photographers, videographers work on their skills, get them more business, get them more clients. But at the same time, a lot of small businesses, everyone wants to start a business right now, right? Everybody has some type of idea, some type of concept, but they might not have the right steps, the right tools to things actually come to fruition. So I felt if I could mesh my skills, other creative people in the city, with people who need the help, I felt that was a gap that was missing, and I believe I could basically put those together. So I recruited, created a survey questionnaire for a bunch of photographers that would apply, and I did an individual application form for the small businesses to apply. So they basically had two customizable individual programs, questionnaires that they would fill out. Both are about 20 questions each, I believe.
Right.
And I would basically vet those responses and pick them accordingly. So out of 39 photographers that applied, I picked 9. And then I think out of 32 or 33 small businesses that applied, I'm working with about 6 or 7 right now. So the goal is to reach 100 small businesses. That's why it's called the KOA 100 Club.
Yep.
But I want it to get to a point where it's self-sustainable. So all the pros will basically have groups of companies they work with.
Right.
And I will have my group of company I work with. And as a like a conglomerate, per se, each group of companies will have assigned photographers to work with them. And that will be the entire hub of the program where at that point, no one's really losing. That's my plan.
So essentially each photographer is going to be the specific sort of call it brand manager for each of those restaurants or businesses, whatever it is.
Exactly.
And that's the relationship that you set up with everyone that comes in.
Exactly.
That's very cool. I think we talked about something along those lines last time we spoke as well, when you mentioned you wanted to find photographers looking for more business, looking to develop their brand and helping them with clients you have.
Right.
Passing them people here and there to work with.
Exactly.
That's very cool. So what's the ultimate goal for you at the end of all that? You get the 100 people and then what? What does that mean for you?
So I realized that I am largely my brand, which is good. I get myself out there. People recognize me. I've done, a lot of things for myself individually, but for a legacy and for, to be remembered and to create an actual shift and difference in the community, it's have to be sustainable, right? And doing things myself forever is not sustainable. I've acknowledged that I'm only one person. Like I'm limited to my hands, what I can do as far as I can reach.
24 hours.
Exactly. So creating a program where it's much bigger than myself, where I don't necessarily have to be everywhere because I can't be everywhere.
Right.
I felt if I create something that allows people to, have their own say, have their own power, their own control, their own creativity, their own interactions and relationships, much further than my own reach, I think is the end goal of all this, because it you can only do so much. You can only spend so much money on yourself. You can only be so many places. You only have so many parties, and but when you're basically telling your story, or be able to empower people of your vision through other people, I think that's the real joy of it all. So when it comes down to when I'm no longer shooting, or I'm at a point where I don't have the time to literally have my hand on the camera, but I know how to run a business, right? I graduated from my Bachelor of Commerce degree, so the photography stuff came after. Right? I was an athlete and a business professional before I became a photographer, right?
So now you finish them together.
Exactly. So me bringing back the business side of it, it's like I don't necessarily need to be shooting to impact the community or to have a business get off the ground, right?
Of course.
That's kind of how I've been structuring my mental process.
I like that. Well, again, last time we talked, you mentioned you did a photo shoot with Bill Nye, the Science Guy. Have you had any really cool people that you've worked with since then?
Since Bill Nye, yeah, I was in Miami and Orlando a couple months ago.
Okay.
I met Kevin Hart. Cool. I met Carucci. I was able to shoot Obama a couple months ago.
Wow.
I'm now doing stuff with different athletes. I did a short mini documentary for Larry Sanders, a former NBA player who walked away from the NBA due to mental health. The list, honestly, I don't even view these scenarios and situations as accolades. I think for me, it's more it's just another stepping stone for me. I've never been a person that is starstruck or brags about who they meet or who they know.
It's just work.
It's just work, and they're friendships, and they're more than just work. They become friendships. I become friends with a lot of celebrities or people I met. Right? It's not just and the one thing that I've talked to one of my friends about is I haven't really took it in until I usually leave these situations. Is that but I've met a lot more people than people have seen me in photos with.
Right.
That's just my personality. There's a lot of people that I've met that people would beg to take photos with them. I'm more interested in creating that relationship beyond that moment.
Wow.
Right? So I feel like once you ask someone for a picture, like a celebrity, for example, you ruin the opportunity for a larger relationship.
It takes you from being on the same level to I want something from you, and
that's just how I take it. Some people want to save the memories or the whatever. That's fine. I view things a lot bigger in the sense that if once I ask you can I take a photo with you, I mean there's nothing wrong with asking that, but I feel like for you to be in the conscious mind to be I need a photo with this person rather than having a conversation with this person, I feel like your priorities are very different than mine.
Yeah, if you have a minute with somebody, don't take a picture, have a conversation.
Yeah, I've left conversations with different celebrities and people, and I was like, oh shit, I didn't even take a photo with this guy. But I'm okay with it. I don't feel like I missed anything. I don't feel like I lost out. I don't brag about being or seeing them. I just kind of I know I've done it. I know I built a relationship, and in most cases, later down the road, they reach out to me, and now we're doing more things together. So
that's all that matters, of course.
That's what matters to me. It's not all that matters to some people, right? It's subjective to each person, because that getting a photo with someone might be all that matters to somebody. So I can't tell someone that's not for them. But for me, it's much deeper than a photo with certain people.
Of course. So who do you want to meet that you haven't yet?
Sorry?
Who do you want to meet that you haven't had the chance to meet yet?
I'd like to meet Will Smith for sure. I'd love to meet Denzel.
Yep.
R.I.P. Kobe. I always wanted to meet Kobe. That was definitely somebody up there I want to definitely have a conversation with.
Yeah.
I shot Obama, but I never actually met him.
Okay.
So Obama is probably one of the top on the list that I'd like to sit down with and have some real conversations with and be like, really ask him, like, because we know, like, even what we're seeing right now with the situation, like, presidents or people in power, leaders, they are the leaders as a figure, but they only have so much power, right? They can only do so much, right? So it's like having these people in these positions and expecting them to do certain things, it's naive of us, right? Like Obama's the president, but there's certain things he couldn't do, right? There's certain things
behind the scenes.
There's certain things he had to do that he might not want to do, right? So like conversations like that are things I would love to like sit down with him and be like, yo, like what are some situations where like you kind of had to break your moral code, you know?
Do you think
like
you share all those details with you though?
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure he shares them with his wife, but I'm just dreaming. Like if I could really sit there with him, I'd ask like some real questions. Like especially when I see people interview certain people, I'm like, ask the good questions. Like I've listened to some interviews. I'm just like, you're asking me shit nobody cares about. Like ask some interesting intellectual questions. Like
I feel like they have lists that they can't ask though. They probably get PR person saying, don't talk about this, don't talk about that.
Yeah, definitely. But at the same time, I'm sure there's some questions that they're just not even submitting, right? They might be too scared to ask it. They may not know enough about the person to ask it. Like there's different variables, right? But I would definitely love to have conversation with some of those people.
That's very cool. So what are you most looking forward to once this quarantine is over?
Well, I don't know if the quarantine will be over, to be honest with you. I think we're very optimistic right now. We're all saying when this is over. I think the world is definitely changing for like permanently moving on. I don't think this is going to be just a for now thing, but I think we'll come back in waves. We're going to have to maybe do this again or do something different or similar. So I don't think it's going to be over, but I do think that, you know, when things, I guess, progress, I can say from this point, I have a lot of like even people's business practices and the things we're going to do are going to be very different. Interaction is going to be very different. People are going to be mentally traumatized from this, right? This is not going to be something that's like when things go back to normal. Okay, cool. You know, let's just go back to partying and chilling. Like everyone, like this is going to be a very serious form of PTSD for a large group of people in this world.
The normal is changing now. Everything is online.
Right. So this isn't something that's like this is just for right now. This is going to change and shift people's perspectives and how they interact, how they think, how they do things for a lot of people moving forward. So I think for me specifically, my behavior practices haven't really changed that much since this has happened. So I can speak for myself. I don't think I will really do much that's different. You know, I still find ways to be creative, be proactive and productive. You know, maybe be more sanitary when like now I'm more aware of things. I might go places to look at something, you're like, that's a little dirty. You might not touch something, you might not touch your face. So like, I'll be more conscious of like,
I agree with that.
Of the germs around us maybe, but my I won't behave any different. I've always been a collective person, a social person, a very open person. So it won't really change my dynamic, but I know it will definitely change things for a lot of people and businesses.
No, I agree entirely. The world has definitely changed. I was talking to someone yesterday about schools are now online. I think started e-classes yesterday.
Right.
And that's going to be the new normal for as long as we can imagine.
Yeah.
Right? So the news said otherwise. So the world is definitely changing in a lot of ways for sure.
Definitely.
So we talked just a few seconds ago about journalists not asking the right questions to some of these people that are being interviewed. So so far in the conversation, are there any questions that I should ask that I haven't yet?
Any question you should ask me?
Yeah.
No,
I haven't asked you yet.
I mean, I'll answer anything, right? But a question you haven't asked me?
Yeah.
I mean, there's unlimited questions you could ask. I think it's a hard. What do you want to know? What is there something that that I haven't already shown or I haven't already said publicly that you generally want to know, whether it's personal or business?
Not yet. Not yet. I think everything's been good so far.
I'm very open. I'm very forward. So, I mean, it's hard to kind of be like, what haven't I talked about? I don't know.
Yeah. So, sort of off the topic of business entrepreneurship, then I was watching a video by London Real, another interview type channel on YouTube.
Okay.
Talking about how the virus is potentially contrived, potentially made by the government, that kind of thing. So really lean on the fence of this whole thing is real versus engineered and that kind of thing.
Like orchestrated?
Yeah.
So my actual perspective on this is this virus is real, right? This clearly exists. People are clearly getting sick. People are obviously dying.
Right.
This virus is not new in the terms of like there's been coronaviruses before. The COVID-19 specifically is a different stream, different strand of virus.
Right.
The people that are in the bigger positions of power, there's a lot of things we don't know, right? There's a large amount of information we don't have answers to.
Right.
And those are the things that
Hey, sir, can you hear me?
Oh shit, yeah, I think close. You good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Let me just fix this again. Yeah, so the things I was concerned about is that there's a lot of information that we don't know, right? So I don't think it's necessarily orchestrated by the government. I don't think they're trying to kill us on purpose.
Right.
I do believe there's a bigger play here, right? There's the only way to get money to freeze like this. The only way to get people inside and to build our trust and to, pass certain laws and pass certain things will be right now, right?
Right.
So I do believe there's a bigger play happening because of this that we don't know about.
I got you.
I don't believe this is orchestrated for them to do that. I do believe something is going to happen because of this. They're going to get more access, get more trust, get more capabilities to do certain things.
But it wasn't created to force that. Yeah. Sorry? But it wasn't created to force all those changes.
I don't think it was created for them to do certain things, but I do definitely believe the government and the world is going to be capitalizing on this moment to do things that will definitely change our future.
Right.
Right.
Good perspective.
Yeah, I don't like. I'm not a conspiracy theorist to be like they created this, sent out the virus to kill us. Like I don't think that's what happened. I do think there's obviously a virus. We've been killing the earth for years, so it was bound to happen that something would happen.
Right.
But I do think that there's a lot of information being held from us. There's a lot of things they're not disclosing, and there's a lot of things in motion during this silence and this frozen money and the economic crash and recession. Everything that's the ripple effect of all this is allowing companies and governments to write up certain things to kind of push through that we won't be able to say no to. And I think that's what I'm more worried about.
I got you.
The vaccinations, the mandatory microchips, if we get to that point where they need it's a law to get a microchip put in you, like shit like that. That's the kind of stuff where I'm like, I'm worried about that stuff. So it's like, so this doesn't happen again. We're now going to give you guys all mandatory microchips. And people are like, okay, that makes sense. Like, no, it only makes sense because we're so fearful that we'll agree to anything at this point, right? So had this never happened, they can never push through microchips to nobody, right? People would be like, you crazy, I'm not taking that. But after you're experiencing this where you have no money, no job, no this, and they try to convince you that like this microchip will make sure that next time this happens, like now they can build their argument, and that's what I'm scared about.
Right. Interesting perspective. Definitely goes both ways. I've heard perspectives from some people saying it's not created, some people saying it is, and they're certain about it. So that might be a nice conversation. Next time, talk, or maybe get a bunch of people on this at the same time, just go back and forth about it.
Yeah, sure.
Very cool. So Ryan, how do we get in touch with you if you have any questions about joining your KOA Pros, KOA 100, or anything else?
Mr. KOA on everything. My website is mrkoa.com. I redid it, so it's fully completed. There's pages, you can be on that for half an hour if you want to.
Nice.
I put a lot of time into it. So my website, mrkoa.com, has everything. It tells you about the program, it tells you about how I started, it tells you about my background story. My whole biography's there, my portfolio is there. Videos you can schedule. I do animation now, so my animation's up there already.
Oh, okay.
So, my website literally has everything. So when people are like, "Oh, where do I find this?" If you went to my website, there's no reason.
No excuses.
Yeah, there's no reason you should have to ask anything. But mrkoa.com is probably the best landing ground.
All right. Perfect. I appreciate your time, man. Good conversation. A couple technical difficulties, but we made it through.
No, it's all good.
All right, bro. Thanks again. We'll talk soon.
All right, bro. Thank you.
All right, later.